I knew I was gonna go ahead and do some more off camera, but that's all right. So today we're doing the clay model. Um, and if you were here last recording, I started some while we were painting, but let's explore it a little bit. These are just some tips for those who want to try it. Like I said, you get you some wire that to use, thicker is better, the wiring that you use, and some aluminum foil. And this is the result of that aluminum foil right there to create the skeleton. So the beauty of that is that this clay wants to fall off, I still have the skeleton and I can always go back over it. But now that I've got the posture for it, I'm just gonna layer little pieces over it, a little bit at a time. And this is air dry clay and it's a little flaky, and that's fine. And we're just gonna add a little bit at a time. And we're gonna do a little bit of that tonight. And really bring this vision to fruition. Just little things you gotta watch out for. You see how that split right there causes that. So this clay is split. The base is important. Something for it to lay flat on so it can stand. This is how I measure the figure. And you can also attach it. And that's kind of why I left this little piece, because I could drill a hole in this and put that in there and tie it to the structure so it doesn't move. And that'll be the end of that, you know what I'm saying? As far as having it set in place. And I would do that if I was going to do like a background, like if I was going to do, an environment around it with the clay as well to build up on top of that. So that's the 101 for the clay. And we're just going to keep plugging away at it a little bit. But it's turning out the way I wanted it to. And I used the whole roll of the wiring for it. And I used a whole lot of aluminum foil. And then once I got the aluminum foil on there, I wrapped it again. So it's a real tight structure. And that's the most important part. So even if I don't like all this clay, I can break it off and I don't have to start over again because I have the skeleton that I could keep going back to over and over again. So that's the beautiful thing about it. And with this, because that's one of the things I love, and even got the head too, but one of the things I love about watching these videos of other people who do the same thing, maybe in their own ways, come on out of there. Oh, the layering process. You don't clump it all on there in one big heap and keep going with it. You gotta kind of take it a little piece at a time, especially for details like muscles and joints and stuff like that. So what I like to do is really press it together and really get the clay compact. Now, I would have chose a better clay. This is just something that was laying around, so to speak. But I'd rather get some more of that wet clay. It's a little bit wet. You got to put some water to it to really shape the molding of the clay. But this is not bad. And just layer it right on top. And use your hands in the beginning just to kind of press things in. And then use your tools. Now for this, all I need is a pencil, really. And all I got to do is roll it. So for this back joint right here, all we're going to do is just kind of roll that clay while it's still moist onto the pre-existing clay. Like such, to bond it together really tight. But that's the basics for clay and doing models that I've learned, and I'm still learning, of course. Mostly by trial and error. But this is fun. a lot of fun to use your hands. And it's not hard and it's not expensive. The startup will cost you less than 5, maybe 6, 7, depends on the wire and the aluminum foil. But you can make these all day long. And then dress it up with whatever kind of clay. And then afterwards, I'll decide if I want to paint it or not. But I know a guy who knows a guy kind of thing, where he's got a 3D printer. And I would like to get this saved into a computer to make toys out of it. You know, make more of these figures, but have them be made of plastic instead of the clay. So this is just one of the ways of expanding. Today, we're not doing painting today. We're doing clay models. Inspired by, just toy making. That's why I got all the toys out. Like all these figures started out kind of like this. They started out as a model where somebody worked clay and did the articulations on them early on. So they have a mold, For toys like this, the mold, these would be separate pieces. But if it's like a figurine, like you find at like a comic convention, something you put on your shelf for decoration, it would be made out of clay. And what I'm doing is I'm creating some of my characters from my book because I want them physical as well. You know what I mean? I'm just adding on to the lore, so to speak. And I wanted to embrace one of the villains and try a little something new. I remember last time I did this, I had a swivel head, so that's what I did with this because I want to be able to sit this here and then be able to turn the head for different poses. So you can get the articulation even at the simplest level with certain parts of the body. But it just takes a little bit of building up. So like I said, the other part is the clay makes this heavy. So you really got to make sure that the aluminum foil and the wiring is really, really, really strong. But it's just one of those fun things you could do with your kids if you got them, or just on your own if you want to just take a shot at it. Doesn't cost a lot. Little thing, you can get a small thing of clay just to try it out for like $5, $6, depending on where you go. So all in all, it could cost you anywhere between $20 and $40 to just play around and create a character. And now that we have technology such as 3D printers, all you gotta do is get it right. And then you got something that can last, for a while. So anytime I go to a show or just display art, I can have these figurines available that tie into the book and my story. And it just adds more value to what you already have. It's a good skill set. I've had commissions in the past for clay models that turned out pretty good. I did 2 of them back in, I don't know, it must have been during the lockdown. But did 2 clay models that turned out wonderful, and they're still pretty much intact from what I've been told by the people I did it for. But this is also like pre-puppeteering, that Jim Henson shit, working with the clay, making models and figures and stuff like that. And some of the tools you need, X-Acto blades, a little cutting tool just to carve up the edges. But now, let me see if I can bring this down a little bit more. Let me slide it down a little bit more. Hope it doesn't cut off. Damn charger. Sit down. There we go. And then I'm just working the headpiece right here, get that groove in there. And I don't know when it's built up enough because the head will just sit in there by itself. And I also set myself up by putting a hole here because this character wears a mask, and I would like to make different masks for this character to sit on top of the face like such. And this way, once I get those made up, I can just hook them in there. So there's a lot of, you know, planning that goes in the beginning. It just depends on what you really want to do with the character or whatever you're creating. And that'll sit in there just fine. Because once it goes into the printer and gets scanned, it's going to scan solid. Or I could even scan them separately just so people could have that option as well. So it's just a bit of planning that goes into everything. Having that in mind before you start the clay part. So if something goes wrong with all this, I can take it all off and just start over again. No big deal. No big deal. And we'll put a little bit more maybe up here in the chest to lock that in. Like such. That's why you just take little pieces, a little bit at a time. And now that that's rolling out, it's letting me know I should go deeper and take some of this out. So we'll attach this and then dig a little bit right around the edges. And this initial layer of clay, you really want to press it into this, to the foil, fitting the grooves as much as possible. You just want to roll it down and do your best to get rid of all these little cracks so it doesn't flake on you and start chipping apart before you get to do what you got to do. So this is really temporary. And that's why I don't mind this clay, because once it gets in the computer and the software has it, it's good to go. I don't have to revisit it. But I want to make it so it lasts for as long as it can. Like such. And then we'll create a little bit more of a groove in here. So this is the time now where you start pressing in and creating muscles or little stripes or designs. It's drying already, so you'll see it's really light right there. So that's what we're doing today. Thanks for asking. And for this character too, oh my God, I gotta find some string. This character's a bit wild. This character's a bit wild. After I do this part, I'll pull it up. As a matter of fact, I think I got it out on that book. Who is that book? I got a really good picture in this one. Let's see. Where you at, buddy? There we go. So this is the character that's being created. This one right here. It's kind of like a, and this is the mask. And I want to And there's a couple of characters like him. That's why I want to just make a regular face so I can make all those different masks and use just the body as a, you know, everybody's a common body. But we're going to make all this come to life. And this is why I need the string, because he has it on his fingers. He's a bit of a puppeteer. Kind of like that. So we want to give this guy a really kind of creepy look. A real creepy look to him. And let me take that out, matter of fact, so I have a guide. And my man Bruticus, you can hold that up. Thank you, sir. Oh, you rebelling at that, huh? Alright. Just to give you an idea of what direction we're moving in. So that's how it works. You know, you kind of create it, but it's different because I've never drawn the back, you know what I'm saying? So now I get to create the whole entire character. And this way, whenever it pops up, if I have any questions about how certain parts should look, I got the model right in front of me. You know? So that's what we're doing. We're creating clay characters out of very simple materials. See, it's flaking off already here, but that's fine. It's that Crayola clay. It's like, I don't know. It's, yeah. I probably would have chose a different kind. But it's not to say we can't go back later. But it's doing what it's got to do. Just got to make sure you keep it covered while you're working. And we're just going to roll it on in and create more of this. He's a horribly disfigured character, so where I put muscles and all that doesn't have to be anatomically correct. So it gives me a little leeway here. See, it's flaking off right there already. And it's just because it wasn't pressed in. So note to self, no more Crayola. Terracotta, even though I love terracotta. This should really be holding better than this. But the rest of it's holding up pretty well. And the more clay I put on top of it, the stronger it'll be as a mold. So the back is working out really nice here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to let it dry. And this will tell me really how much work I'm going to have to put into it. But this is about 2 days work. I finished the rest of the body outside. It took about an hour to do. And plus I wanted to dare do fingers with this one. So he's got all his little fingers out. So smushing, rolling, anything you can do to get this compact. And then just press it out. Anything that flakes on the side, oh well, it'll come off. But the core of it, and I wanted about that thick, right there, maybe a little bit thinner. And just add on. I don't really want it to be too thick because I don't want it to be a heavy figure and have it fall over because of the weight. And we'll do a little zoom so you can see the character itself. So already he's got that kind of look, hunched over. A bit decrepit, you know. Nothing like a good horror character. One of those creatures that kind of unnerves you, you know what I mean? And then I'm going to use the tip to create little designs like those grooves I just did in the back. It's just a pressing and a rolling. And now we have a very interesting looking back with those grooves on it. So I'm not trying to get it exactly like the picture. In fact, I'd rather just play with the design a little bit more. Yep. And that's the only thing I was worried about, was if the clay would be too heavy on the top. But it looks like it's holding up pretty well. Then we'll just start to add more. The arms are going to be tricky because they're small. So there's not as much to hold on to as far as the clay is concerned. Kind of like Gollum, I guess. And with that in mind, I want to give him a spine that kind of sticks out. So we'll take some of this off now and get that started. Like a really crooked looking spine. Kind of define the character a bit more. So already in the back we have that bulge in the spine right here. And then when it completely dries, we can really get to it. Got a little a small drill with really small bits, and we could just start taking little bits and pieces and smooth it out. But that's why you would really want to press it the first time so it doesn't become super flaky. And just little simple movements like this. Now I got all those little grooves in his back. Give him a little bit more under here. And viola. Here we go. Use that to suck up all the little pieces. Not too much. I don't want all that dry shit in there. Oops. I gotta go back on that. Might as well take care of it now. We'll just pull that off. We'll do it over. That bird has been singing all day. I don't know if y'all can hear that thing. It's been a weird kind of feeling the past couple of days. I can't even describe it. But let's take a little bit of water just to see. This came straight out the box, no instructions. Usually you could do this water on here and smooth it out. Yeah, it's not too bad. And this will help fill in the cracks and smooth out the appearance. Now it's really sticky. Now we're going to go for this little gut belly of his. So I like that little split. We'll do that little split right in the middle of his gut. Push it out. almost like that right there, like that. I'm gonna there we go. So we got all his little ribs and stuff, his little stomach. We're gonna put a little bit more for his stomach. He got a little gut right there. And then we're gonna clean our tools off. Because if you leave it like this, it's gonna start pulling off the clay while I'm trying to put it on. No big deal. Now let's see if he still stands. So now we see where there's a little gimp here. And that's why I left these last. Because now I can still turn him and get his life together. But it's all weight. So hopefully with the head there, it'll hold him in the front a little bit more. There we go. So now he's standing up a lot better. And this is really just a matter of putting a little water here and adjusting the legs. So we'll do just that much tonight. Well, for right now, I'm gonna let it dry and see where I need to make amends and get my water game up a little bit more. But for the most part, he's coming along fine. Like bam. So clay modeling, fun stuff. I'm gonna get out of here. I'll talk to you guys later.